Hi guys, welcome to the post-match reaction. The only good news is Rebels back. Hi guys, welcome to the Man United Agenda. Yes, we just lost 3-0 again at home in the Cup to Newcastle. The team we beat in the final last year. Shambolic. Go and check out their thumbnail title. Shambolic. We were looking at title names and Rebel came up with that. Rebel, haven't seen you for a long time. Welcome back. And unfortunately, you've come back to a shambolic performance.
Absolutely. And you know what? When I was coming on in the backstage, it wasn't actually the performance that I was worried about. I knew I was coming on with BATHTIME with Vaughan, and given the fact that it's the first, or what do we know, the 1st of November, I was thinking, Jesus, if he breaks out the Mariah Carey, All I Want for Christmas, I'm probably going to run the other way.
Well, it's good to have you back on again, Rebel. We've missed you. And big up to Bath Time. I saw you at half-time. Half-time. And we were moaning and groaning and seeing big mistakes, but we're here to talk about the whole performance, the whole game, and maybe what's next, because a few people in the comments, we've got Football United TV, Dorno25 say, unfortunately, he gets sacked tomorrow. Big T saying here, sacked in the morning, gets sacked in the morning. Oh, gosh. This is a new low. Player power wins again, says Jeff. Shambles, says Matthew. And Dale Griffiths, how you doing? He's saying, anybody who says this is Ten Hag's fault is wrong. We had 7 first-team players versus Newcastle's third and fourth choices. The players have simply down-tooled. Big up to DK Wilson, by the way. Said, what's up, fellas? Not a nice performance. Yeah, for sure. Stuart Marshall, the clock's ticking for Ten Hag. He's saying, God, this is bad, guys. Football United saying here, none of our players will get into Newcastle's at the moment. I would take Alamon over Rashford right now. And here we go. Some warm welcome to Rebel. Welcome back. That's from Jeff. And Flex Felix in the house. 100% Eric's last game. And last comment from me so far is the gaffer made all the changes we wanted. And if that does not tell you that it's the players and the mentality that they have. Big up. Big up to Dave P as well. They're all flying in right now. Evening all. Thought Wan-Bissaka was pretty good. All the other stuff is just details. Bring back Ranić. Yeah, here we go. All right, you've seen it. You've got a feel of the comments, guys. Let's talk about this game. We started off with a lineup of Onana, Dalot, Lindelof, Maguire, Reguilon. With the team selection, that's a first team, almost first team selection with the players available, isn't it? With the backline, Rebel.
As far as the backline is concerned, that is absolutely pretty much as you were, apart from dealer's choice on Dalot or Wan-Bissaka, depending on who you fancy. But given who's available, Maguire, Lindelof, and Reguilon are currently nearly pretty much nailed on first teamers without Martinez being around. So, he played his strongest possible team in the backline. It was interesting that he didn't give the Turkish goalkeeper a run, though, given the fact that we haven't really got a look at him yet.
That's a good point. We've been talking about it on the show for a while now. I know you've been tuning in. Why do you think the Turkish goalkeeper's not getting game time?
I'm presuming what he's trying to do, and maybe Bata might have more of an insight on this, is he wants the team to find a rhythm, because last season when Rashford was scoring all his goals, we had a rhythm. This season, from what I've seen of it, we're stuttering, we're kind of spluttering, and we're not finding a rhythm. So maybe BATTIME wants to kind of come in on why we're not seeing a bit of change in the goalkeeping ranks.
I don't really know, to be honest. I don't know a lot about goalkeepers, but what I do know is that this is our best chance for a trophy this season, and we spent around 50 million on Onana, and we spent 5 million on Bayinda, who came in knowing that he was the second choice goalkeeper. And unfortunately, we're not a team that can sort of like rotate the goalkeepers the way that Manchester City do, with Ortega coming in and stuff like that. So for me, it wasn't really any surprise to see Onana in goal.
Yeah, big up. What do you think about the starting lineup? I mean, good look. We talked about this game all like from yesterday, and we were saying how important it is because it's a trophy. Do you think the midfield suggested that he wanted to go strong with Casemiro, Hannibal, and Mount with Garnacho and Anthony? Is that suggesting to you that he wants to win the game, or is that to rotate, bring players on? What do you think about the starting lineup strictly?
It's a combination in a Monday. Like, we got a battering off City, so he had to make changes. So he made 7 or 8 changes, and I think that midfield. I think it's probably his second choice midfield at the moment, where Bruno's ahead of Mount, but Tomley's probably ahead of Hannibal and Amrabat and Ericsson at this moment in time, ahead of Casemiro. But it's still a well-balanced midfield that should be better than most in the league. Like, you have like a Brazil captain with 5 Champions Leagues. You've got Mount with his Champions League, and you've got Hannibal, who's the great hope coming through this season, and they were appalling to a man in the first half. Appalling.
Well, let's talk about the first half. Obviously, we wanted to start well after what happened at the weekend in the derby. And let me just say this before we go into that. I thought Newcastle played a weak team, considering the players they have. They've clearly rested players for the weekend and what the Champions League, which is a competitive group they're in. And they've gone with basically a B team here. And unfortunately, one of their players pulled a hammy early on, and they had to make a change, which is to our detriment because the guy went out and scored. But anyway, I thought, when I saw the lineups, I thought, we got this because they're playing a weak side. And to lose, I'm just absolutely gutted. But anyway, comments keep flying in. Any polls going in the comments? I'm not sure. I imagine what the poll question would be is Ten Hag out in the morning, yes or no. But anyway, let's talk about the first half, guys. Hannibal was a bit lucky early on, don't you think, Rebel? He's got a reputation since that first game against Liverpool when he came on and was kicking people. He's getting a bad reputation here, and he could have got sent off early on in the game, don't you reckon?
Absolutely, and I actually saw a good comparative. It was a Paul Scholesy type yellow card that he picked up first, really, wasn't it? That was the kind of challenge that you'd have expected from Paul Scholes. Now, obviously, he's a bit lively, and I think it's a question that we need to settle him down, because I looked at that incident, and I think even Gary Neville said he really should have walked here, and possibly the fact that VAR isn't in place for this round of fixtures probably kept him on field.
Yeah, I mean, very fortunate. And then Casemiro got booked as well early on. And these are guys you don't want to be getting booked so early in the game, because you can always imagine they're going to get a yellow card. All right, let's get straight to this goal. After 28 minutes, Garnacho's rushing forward, and he got pinched by their right back. And then, as JR says here, the right back runs 40 yards to set up the first goal, and Willock runs 40 yards as well. But yeah, let's go through that first goal, bath time. Do you remember much about it, or were you still crying? Tears in my eyes.
I never stopped crying, to be honest. So what we did is we overcommitted on the left-hand side, where like Reguilon and Garnacho, like Reguilon gets ahead of Garnacho. That's perfectly fine, but you need cover behind you. The cover is Mount and Casemiro, I believe. And Tino Livramento, very impressed with him today. He just drives, carrying power, strength, like and shielding the ball correctly as he's carrying. But Mount should take him out. Like Hannibal and Casemiro are around, but Mount has to take one for the team. And I know that's not great, having 3 central midfielders on a yellow card after 20 minutes. But it's a lot better than being a goal down. And then, their transition was excellent. I put up a video on Monday. I talked about how if you lose the ball on one side, you're always looking for the winger on the other side to score. And that's exactly what happened. They manipulated the spaces well, but we didn't have enough men back. And it's something that keeps coming through. I know a lot of people want to talk about the players down in tools and stuff, but that system that we put out, A, it doesn't suit the players, and B, it leaves us too open. So teams are just cutting through us with a hot knife through butter because we're going 1v1 all the time. It happened to Amrabat repeatedly. It happened to Man. These players are not strong enough to be played like that. We need more men behind the ball. Like, it's fine. Reguilon and Garnacho, I've got no issue with like Reguilon going for past like Garnacho, but the midfield have to go and cover. Like that entire midfield was dreadful. Like for the first half, amateur mistakes, crossing over each other. It was an absolute disgrace of a performance, and I think it's like it's a combination of them lacking confidence, but also a terrible system that was put into play against a very strong and powerful Newcastle United midfield. Amateurish all round.
JR again is dropping some jewels. He's saying here, winning the ball back is an issue. How many times do the opposition run from front to back with no foul? As Bathtime was saying there, do you think Mount should have brought him down the halfway line to prevent this transition from Newcastle, Rebel?
Yeah, I just wanted to point out as well, the important thing to remember here is that Joelinton, Gamirish and Longstaff, they're starting Premier League midfielders, were not on pitch during the time when our midfield was getting served up, as Bathime rightly pointed up. And what kind of got to me more than anything was, if you looked at the space when Dallo was chasing back on that break, you could have flown in a Boeing 737 in there. There was so much room. But I do agree with Bathime. In those situations, and it's not something you want to be encouraging on if you're training a young team, you take that yellow card and you eat it.
Yeah, for sure. Man City do that really well. It's like, even if you just pinch him, it doesn't have to chop him down or anything. You just stop them from transitioning, something we've got issues with. And I just want to say this, it's a bit weak. Look, if you give the ball away, first thing you want to do is like chase back and growl and say, nah, I'm disappointed here. I just felt Garnacho, I'm not blaming Garnacho, but I felt that was weak what he tried to do. The guy was just squaring up. Just do a 1-2 or something. Why you have to dribble from the halfway line and try and carry the ball, dribble him, taking the man on? You're standing right in front of you. You didn't even take it wide of him, or you basically ran into him. I think Rashford's trying to coach him in training or something, because that was a typical thing, just running into the player. Really poor, yeah, I totally agree with you. Big up to Wild Life Machine. Rashford agreeing with you to switch sides in games. Why can't he do the same with Anthony? Big up to James as well. Eric Ten Hag is clueless, he's saying, and he's saying he's strong. That was their B side. Rajet's in the house as well. He said Diva team who want another coach fired. Is it the players getting the coach fired? Do you reckon? It always seems to be. JR saying here, if you aren't scoring, you're conceding. The midfielders aren't doing their job. There's so many comments coming, guys. Keep it coming. Sancho's not training well. The whole team isn't even training or playing well. That's from Double A. And Garnacho ain't the man. Matthew Bassett saying here, is Eric sacked, who replaces him, and what teams want any of our players? Talk about a young player, Mainu, the saviour right now, as Bathtime was stating a few weeks ago. How can we have a Mainu as a saviour for us? Let's look at that way at the moment. Mainu played last night. I think he would be in for Fulham. Big up to, once again, to Dorno. Maybe for once we actually back a manager. That was our prime for the job.
Can I ask a question, actually? Because I've been reading in various social media posts for a while now, people crying out for Rashford and Bruno to get put on bench. Tonight, they got their wish. And are we seeing why Bruno and Rashford aren't benched because of tonight's performance?
I was quite happy that Garnacho got a game. I think if you're going to do it in the League Cup. Because Garnacho is a talent, he needs to get game time. And I was saying this yesterday in the show, if you tuned in, that he's just signed a new contract. That new contract would have suggested he's a squad rotation player and he needs to get games. So I've got no issues with Garnacho. And also, I've been disappointed with Rashford's form. It was Bruno. I did think Bruno should have started today. I'm not saying told you so anything. I said that yesterday in the show. I just felt that we needed to really push, give a good performance today. And I think Bruno's key to that. He's always fresh. He's our best player. And I think he should have started. But yeah, I'm not blaming the manager for selection problems or anything like that. But given Lowe's to saying here, football is a humbler. Yeah, we as a fan base, we do feel bad. Big T's got a question for you, Bathtime. Bathtime, right or wrong, if the player's down tools for a manager, is that manager done? And does the manager have to go?
Pretty much. Yeah, that's just the facts of the matter. And our poll on Monday, with 24 votes, was 50% Ten Hag is sacked tomorrow, 50% don't sack Ten Hag tomorrow. So very, very divided. But I've also noticed that the likes are only on 10, and I don't like begging for things, but would you mind pressing the like button, because it does help us out, and we do work quite hard. So I think we deserve it. Unlike this bloody team.
Dave P said here, not having a solid backline is a massive hole. Wasn't it in the 16-17 season when Liverpool fell apart when Van Dijk, he wasn't there then, got a long-term injury. When solid at the back, fullbacks can help with creates overlaps. Jeff saying here, Rebel, as long as Bruno plays the number 10 and not the right wing. He doesn't like that. Michael Hill saying Rashford has one good season. Given Loester saying here, who would you get after you sack in bath time? And bath time, you suggested someone the other day that we were like, what? Couldn't believe it.
Mr. B, if you're watching, I'm sorry, but when I was doing research on the takeover and stuff, I noticed that Nice had spent quite a lot of time talking to Graham Potter, and I would suspect that with the new footballing structure, where we don't have a manager, we have a head coach who basically just trains the players. I would think that Potter is the most likely at the moment, which is an upgrade from Southgate, who I think the Glazers would love to get in, to be honest. Yeah, I know, Mr. B, sorry.
And you're cringing there, Rebel. Right, that's the first half. It was 2-0, we're 2-0 down. And, well, sorry, I forgot about the second goal. Do we want to painful enough to go talk through that? Because you questioned me at half time about Maguire clearing the ball, but initially it was Dalot, I felt, that didn't anticipate again. I'm going to call him out for the first goal. He didn't anticipate. He was scanning, but didn't go with the man in the end. And the same guy he was scanning ended up scoring. And I just think that was completely wrong. And the second goal, same thing again. Dalot was running with the man, but it's a bit too late, a bit too lackluster for me. And then it ended up getting across. The cross was cleared by Maguire as far as he could possibly do it with the circumstances. He had a guy in his face. Didn't want to take him out and headbutt him or whatever. And then it was a great finish by that young man, Lewis Hall, with his left foot one. So we were saying the other day about people with left foots like bath time and this guy, Lewis Hall. It looks beautiful, doesn't it? But anyway, yeah. Any errors on that goal? Did you see, Rebel? Anyone to call out?
I think I'm not sure, was it Lindelof or was it Dalot, but he seemed to kind of get the ball trapped underfoot. And it kind of came back into the path of the Newcastle player who ultimately put the ball into the trajectory of Hall.
So, no, you're not pointing fingers. It's just a good finish. Is that what?
Yeah, it's probably unfortunate. Ball trapped underfoot, and that strike was just.
No, I'm not having that. That was a terrible goal to concede. I think that Maguire's header's a little bit weak, but it's not even the biggest problem there. I don't know if you remember a couple of years ago, Monday, your brother Dan Juma played against us was it Villarreal? Yeah. And Dalot was left completely alone to deal with him, and he got eaten all match. The midfield were disgusting for the second goal, absolutely disgusting. Casemiro comes out as he should to cut the pass off into the centre, right? But he doesn't show any urgency or anything. He just stands there. Hannibal has got to be tracking the runner through the channel. That is the whole part of that's 90% of his job is just running channels in that position. He's nowhere to be seen in that goal, and all their attacks were coming through that channel. I saw 4 players lining up on about the 35th minute, all running a train down that channel. It was like watching Cole, Henry and Perez again, showing the Premier League the importance of the channel. Maguire and Dalot, right, the space in between them is the channel, and it's been exploited time and time again, and they're getting no cover from Hannibal and nothing from Casemiro. It is absolutely dreadful. If you're talking about players who are throwing a manager onto the bus, you start with Hannibal and you start with Casemiro in that half, because they weren't putting the work in defensively, and it's disgraceful.
You said disgraceful twice today, and that means we must be poor. I mean, yeah, you really got in there, but great detail, bath time once again. Yeah, we were really exposed. So we got into half time. 2-0 down. But we felt there could be a way back. And
You did.
Yeah, I asked
I
the
didn't.
question. And we asked the question: how can we get back in this game? He said, "Yeah, it's possible. It's possible." I just felt we needed a bit more intensity, and I think we showed that in the second half. Don't you reckon, Rebel? We started off and started dominating and starting to try to force things in the second half. Much better performance from what I saw in the first half, anyway.
Yeah, we definitely came out with a bit of a bit in between the teeth. We made the subs. We brought on Spider-Man and we brought on Bruno, and it seemed like we were trying to dictate the pace of play. And I think I think it was 15 minutes into the first half, there was a stat that we had 71% of possessions. But the thing was, though, what did we do with that possession? And did we work the Newcastle goalkeeper enough with that possession? And I think, if we're honest with ourselves, we didn't.
Yeah, it's like a struggle. Yeah, even though were forced into play and everything, I just couldn't see how we were going to open them up. It's quite easy for them to sort of sit back and create that block, and we can't break them down.
We got rope-a-dope to Monday.
Yeah.
They knew exactly what they were doing. They
Mm.
knew that we were gonna. They knew what we were gonna do. That we were gonna overcommit and leave ourselves more and more open. And when Wan-Bissaka came on with Anthony, both of them are dreadful at manipulating footballs. Absolutely dreadful. There was a moment where I think Amrabat shot over. He shot something that was threatening the International Space Station more than Newcastle United's goal. But it was from Anthony and Wan-Bissaka, an inability to control the ball properly and move it into space. And the further Wan-Bissaka was getting up, the more and more worried I was getting. And because we go man to man. Don't go man to man against the Newcastle United midfield. They're powerful runners, and they've got very, very long legs.
Just to say, Joe Lilton. I mean, if he was on the screen right now, his shoulders would be about that wide. He looks massive, and he was absolutely toying with poor Hannibal out there. Absolutely, he weights him, sent him to the ground in the first half, and Hannibal, every time he came up against him, he's like, "Oh my god, I'm going to get checked here." Boom! Stop
they look
this.
like bigger boys, OMONDI. You know, like when you're 16, you play against 11-year-olds and you're just shouldering them off. That's what it looked like. The big boys came out to play, and this is a huge problem with ETH's system, is that if we go man to man, we need big boys. Like, you remember Rashford getting eaten up by Upper Meccano?
Yeah, Bayern Munich,
Yeah, but our team, and this is a huge problem, right? Our team are not physically fit enough at anything. And I know that the players have reportedly just been really, really angry this week about their training and stuff. I know a lot of people say that's throwing people under the bus, but when you played football and you try and get yourself in the best shape possible, if the manager is asking you to do something and training you to be less good at it, I think you've got a right to ask questions. The whole thing is just a bloody disgrace. And tonight, I genuinely feel worse than I have, I think, for any match in recent memory, because I know this is the end of Ten Hag.
What today specifically is the end?
Yeah.
What happened today?
Well, he made 8 changes. He didn't really change anything tactically, but I didn't have any belief. Against Brentford, when McTominay came on, I actually did have a little bit of belief. But tonight, when that second goal came in, tell me in chat. I'm sorry for speaking a lot, but tell me in chat, who genuinely believed we could get back into that game? Did you? You did, Rebel.
No, I just have a counterpoint when we move on from this one.
Give me the counterpoint.
The question is, right, obviously we're all feeling a bit down about Ten Hag and the way things are going. We've talked about training before. If you remember, this narrative was very much prevalent in Ole's training when he was the manager, and they were talking about the amateurist type training, and it seems that that narrative's still there. But I'm beginning to think at this stage, could you appoint, say, a Pep Guardiola 11 manager at this point, put him into that club, but unless you address Arnold or Murta, are you pissing up against a waterfall?
No, not at all. Because I think actually that Arnold does an all right job, but like they have nothing to do with what's going on in the training ground. One of the first things Ollie said when he came in is that he wanted his team to be the fittest in the league. He identified it. Like it was under Jose that we moved away from the conditioning needed to play in a high block. Ollie like tried to get that like going forwards. And the thing is the one man who can make a difference to the team and all the people around him is Ten Hag. He has the most power in this situation. He can affect the most things, and I don't think that he can. So I think that yes, if you do bring in someone, if you do bring in a motivator or someone who is like an expert at his job, I think you'll see instant improvements because the players lack belief, they lack a plan. There's no structure on the pitch, and like Arnold and Murtagh are not bloody running them through how to defend transitions or like how to take throw-ins. Like,
yeah, but you know, can I just say to that? I was listening to a quote. I can't remember who said it. They said basically any club that's being run shitty at the top, it will filter down to the pitch. And I've always been an advocate that no way can that happen. If there's a manager that deals with the football side of things. It could be a hurricane above him, but it shouldn't affect what happens on the field. But I'm starting to disagree with my own.
Yeah, but the thing is, Omondi, right, is I also believe that to be true, that the structure above affects you. But I think that Ten Hag's abilities aren't good enough to get us out of this, whereas if Pep or someone like that comes in, even though they won't be at the top of their powers, their like sort of base understanding of how football works will be able to elevate the team.
But guys, I mean, listen to this. We came third last year. We won a cup. I mean, isn't that enough in the bag to give this guy more time? I don't know. We're going to find out. Let's go for some comments quickly. Stuart Marshall saying, where the hell do we go from here? Pick up Stuart. Here's one for you, bath time. I don't normally hear bath time so distressed and vexed. It's upsetting. That's from Tyrone Williams.
I'm sorry, Tyrone Williams. He's so handsome as well. I don't want to let him down.
Tyrone's a great guy, by the way.
Yeah.
He's going to be an actor one day. Get into film and acting. And all the best to you, Tyrone. Flex Felix is saying here, if he's staying, we need to change that formation completely. It simply doesn't work. Dave saying Hannibal didn't seem to make an effort to block the shot for the second goal. Take any side in the league, and you'll see every player throwing themselves to block that kind of thing. Big up Dave P. King Tashala saying here, I understand that Newcastle made some changes too, but don't you think the midfield onwards, our team was cold? Eric Ten Hag doesn't usually squad players, sub since the 85th minute. There's no footy in their legs. Big T saying here, question, can United be great again in the metaverse? Can AI save us? DK Wilson saying here, that's the only thing I noticed about United. Most of the players are far less athletic than the opposition. Nearly all teams have been putting athleticism to another level. Dale Griffiths, Ten Hag said in his interview, the players know this isn't good enough and they need to stick together. I think he knows his days are numbered, and I'm gutted, he's saying. Big T saying here, Ten Hag just said post-match what he thinks that he thinks we have enough characters in the team to raise the standard. Who? This is Big T. Tyron Williams again is saying the players away past the buck and get away with it, basically. So many comments coming in. Keep them coming, guys. Keep them coming. I will pick out just random ones. So if you get one like this one from DK Wilson, halftime question for you. Were you criticising Ten Hag like this last season?
Yes.
Was he a rebel? Do you remember this?
In fairness, I do remember his comments, and there was certain elements of Ten Hag's game plans, and Bat Time did rightly put it in the chat, and when he was on, I do recall him speaking to it, so I have to back him up on this one.
I did a show at the beginning of the year where I laid out, like at the beginning of the season, where I laid out all my issues with Ten Hag. I've never not backed Ten Hag. Like, I want him to succeed, and I think he should be given every chance to turn this around. But I don't have the faith in him or the players, and we all know if it's players versus manager, just the way football is, we know who's going to win that one. But the next one, clear them all out.
Second half, guys. Not much to talk about. We were just going into it, but we did start well. And then that goal came from Willock, who I thought played brilliantly. I remember when Willock was at Arsenal and they were debating whether to keep him or not. Good, strong runner. Good Premiership player. and he's quick as well. And yeah, but I didn't think I just felt no frills. No one would be really getting the best out of him. I feel he'd end up at the Championship or someone like that, or a lower relegation team. But he's proven at Newcastle he suits their system because he's a good runner, powerful, physically strong, athletic, and he scored a beautiful goal. I just always think to myself, just put it in the corners, and he did exactly that. He pinched the ball. No one really closed him down. And big up to Anthony Gordon for blocking Maguire from getting across. He's checked it. It was a bit like shielding in basketball, screening someone like that. I thought that was a bit cheeky, but it was a great finish and great performance by Willock today. He showed the desire, the athleticism, all the things that we require standard in any player playing in our midfield. Any player plays in midfield for Premiership has to have those attributes, and then you got the added stuff as technique and ability as well. If you look at Bruno Guimaraes for them, I was looking at his thighs. He's massive and strong as well, and he's got attitude. He's getting, so and he does all the right things anyway. So I just think going forward, we need to get players that tick all those boxes. What about that goal? Any mistakes on the way there, Rebel?
I'll be honest with you. As Bat Time kind of rightly pointed out, we were lured into coming at them, and then they saw an opportunity and they scarpered. And I remember Gary Neville's commentary ringing in my ears. This lad is rapid, and he proved it because he absolutely hared down for that goal.
Yeah, I think we gave the ball away midfield, didn't we?
Amrabat got pinched.
Okay.
Hannibal ran across Amrabat, which is a big no-no at any level of football. But I think that they were targeting Amrabat because he is incredibly right-footed. You don't see him whizzing any passes out to the left, so we were getting more and more compressed. Even in a good spell of possession, we were getting more and more compressed onto our right-hand side, which had Wan-Bissaka and Anthony, who are poor technicians and offer very little drive into the final third. And I felt that they were setting a trap for us. And I think you're right to point out what Gordon did. I saw that, and I remember thinking I need to show the lads at training this next week because an American football style block is so effective. And then the guy just places it in the bottom corner, and I don't think that it's any issue on Onana, but it's such a simple goal to concede. But we win the ball in those positions all the bloody time. We've got one of the highest turnover rates in the Premier League. We never, ever do anything like that. Disorganised shambles is what they are.
Okay, so not much more to talk about with the second half. It was just poor overall, and then they just hit on the break like they did their easy performance, and they must be laughing. What got me, the Newcastle fans are doing the Olays, and that must be so annoying. That's when you want to get a red card and say, "F it, I'm done here." Tyrone Williams saying, "I'm not convinced that I'm about his lack of mobility and athleticism in the middle of the park has been detrimental to us all season." Lovely words there, lovely grammar as well. King Dino's, what do you think about this one, Rebel? King Dino's saying, we need to do what Arsenal did. They came 8th place twice under Arteta and stick with the manager. The Dick, Heads, will leave the lads and stick around. We'll work harder. So what do you think about that? Do you because there's an argument, I don't know how the poll's going, but what are you thinking, Rebel? Why now you've calmed down a little bit. Should we do what Arsenal did and stick with our manager and see them impress and improve with time?
I think what you have to take into account is there was a dramatic shift at all levels of that club when they were showing patience with Arteta. Josh Kroenke took the reins from his father and set out a plan that he was targeting over a specific period of time. And what you noticed, season in, season out, there was little pieces of that puzzle being moved on. And they started to change their team. They started moving out players, getting in more transfer capital, and eventually built a squad that they felt confident in. The one mistake you might have said that they did make this year is the bizarre situation of buying Raya when they have Ramsdale, but that's not our business. But if you were to look at Manchester United Football Club, what is needed is Manchester United Football Club would have to put in proper support mechanisms to ultimately transition to a squad that is capable of executing the plan of the manager. Now, if the manager's at fault, then at a point the manager would be rightly and correctly relieved of his duties. And there's no issue with that. But it just seems that the tail is wagging the dog at Manchester United Football Club at the moment. And we need to get back down to basics, fix what we're going to fix. And obviously it's been a tough week for Manchester United Football Club with the loss of Bobby Charlton. But we do need to kind of come out of that period of mourning and start focusing on football, something that the club has probably had in the peripheral for quite some time. We have greats like Sparky, who turned 60 today, and a very happy birthday to Sparky. They always were very much team-orientated and focusing on getting that big prize. Manchester United Football Club, to be a success, needs to put together a plan. Whether that is with or without Ten Hag remains to be seen. But I think at this stage, there's a lot more needs doing before we talk about showing Ten Hag the door.
I'm with you on that. Fix up and fix it and wake up, says Rajat. King Dino saying we won't be able to fix anything as long as the players have power over managers. Good point. We discussed that yesterday as well. You guys are on it today. Big up to Tyro. He says here, the fact that the likes of Martial and Maguire are still at the club does nothing to help Ten Hag. These are not his players. And Mr. B saying it, Omondi said dick and spelled head. I did, yeah. But D-I-C-K is could be classed as Richard. Richard or another. Is it Richard? Is Dick, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, Richard is Dick. Okay. I never understood that one. But let's not get into that. Let's talk about given Losa saying here, you'll want the manager out, have to blame the players as well. You can see where the comments are going. They are sort of still behind the managers, not completely over him, I believe, because the fans have a lot of say in this. Paul,
well, I put a poll. I put a poll in the chat asking, are the players throwing the manager under the bus? We've had 12 votes so far, and it's 92% that the players are throwing.
Is that so? If that was a jury, that would be he would be getting free. Yeah, he would be getting off scot-free. Is that right, Rebel?
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to have a 10-2 majority, so he'd be away down the road.
All right, Paul saying here, Dello, Lindelof, Maguire partnership all over again. Some things never changed. Nothing has changed. We have only replaced the manager, but the players are the same. A couple more, and then we're going to come on to you guys about this. Dale Griffiths is saying here, I totally agree, Rebel. Player power at United is far too strong. So Alex Ferguson got rid of players that thought they were bigger. Big Time Charlie, was it? Paul Ince? Jeff saying here that pundits and writers are slating Ten Hag as well, which doesn't help and adds to pressure. Given Loso again saying how many managers we lost under players in the past. I saw Jay Motti be on Friday. He gave a post out on Twitter today, and he actually evidenced it by doing headlines of under Ralph, under Ollie, under Mourinho, and someone else would have been
Van Gaal.
Maybe Van Gaal, yeah. That there was the player power, or players are moaning about training. That was it. Players were moaning about the training method or something like that. Was that right, Rebel? Am I on the money?
I remember that well, and he also referenced a piece by the media of the 20 worst players to pull on the Manchester United shirt. And it kind of taught me where the media are at in terms of their narrative against United, because they included Diego Forlan and Hargreaves in their list. Hargreaves was integral to winning that Champions League, and Diego Forlan always chatting the Scousers. So I'm sorry, but there is definitely way worse players than those two in the top 20 worst players.
I mean, Ferguson did say Hargreaves was his worst ever signing for United.
But is it the 20 worst ever, considering what's happened since Fergie?
I don't know. I saw Maguire was at 8, so are we taking that on Monday?
The jury's still out. Hold up. What's the odds? What, 10-2? Is it 8? All right. Anyway, let's move on. Let's wrap this up, guys. Because look, who are we playing at the weekend?
Fulham.
Home or away?
Away.
The next 5 are away, I think.
You usually go Craven Cottage, don't you, bath time?
I'm going to the match, yes.
Oh, lovely. Lovely.
I don't know about if it's going to be lovely. I mean, I need to see some massive changes.
Yeah.
Like,
so what kind of changes are we looking for the weekend now, based on what we've seen today? We had a loss in the derby. We tried to make changes, positive changes for the cup game. But this, again, is a must-win game. Every game's a must-win game, but we're playing Fulham away. If we lose to them and don't gain ground on the top 4, who are playing right now, we did sort of creep up there. Then we're in big trouble. So we will be talking about this later in the week, like tomorrow and Friday, doing a preview as well. But what are the fundamental things you would be doing right now, tonight, tomorrow morning, and first evening training? What do you need to be doing? Do you need to be identifying players and ripping players up, and getting into them for their lack of performances here, or what? How do you think Ten Hag's going to be playing it right now, Rebel?
As much as I hate to admit it, and then going back again to the early days, we need a double pivot at the moment because I think we're getting exposed in the midfield. So that probably means Amrabat and Casemiro, and we see if we can try and develop some sort of a partnership with them. In terms of our forward line, it's completely misfiring at the moment. Rashford isn't getting the job done. Højlund is getting zero service of any consequence. Anthony has been flattering to deceive. There's a footballer there, but we haven't seen it yet. So how do you get the jump start on that battery to get them functioning as a unit? And I think the only thing we can do at the moment is have a defense first mentality, which I know is a mid-table club mentality, whereas we should be thinking about attacking the game and controlling the narrative. At this stage, I think we need to get the fundamentals right again, take us back to basics, and actually start working as a football club, because it's going wrong from goalkeeper all the way to the striker at the moment.
Yeah, in training tomorrow morning, nice and early, on time. As the manager at bath time, what are you saying to the boys? What could you say after that? 2-3-0 thrashings.
I don't know. I don't know what you say to them. But I do take issue with what Rebel said about defense first is a mid-club. Is a mid-table club mentality. That's an elite club mentality. Football's a low-scoring game. You concentrate on how to stop the opponent scoring goals whilst giving yourself the best opportunity to score goals. And maybe this is the attitude that Ten Hag has, but he's got to come in and he's got to get his hardest work in, physically most fit players, pack the midfield and the centre of the pitch. And if that means Bruno at right wing, so that we can get more players in the middle of the park, I'm absolutely fine with that. But it's the system that he's using of winning the ball high up the pitch. I know he thinks it's working, but it's not leading to goals that we're scoring. We haven't scored a goal off this incredible press, but we've conceded from it. So that has to stop. You have to look at the squad of players you've got, and you've got to get them in there. So I would like to see McTominay, Amrabat, Hannibal, Casemiro, just get all of them in the middle of the pitch, and because we've got to stop the rot. And I know people are talking about player power and stuff. I think that one of the things that people have sort of skipped by is we've given too much power to our managers. We've allowed them to get players in without any kind of oversight, and it goes all the way back to Van Gaal. So every year there's players that the manager doesn't want and that are causing him problems and things, and it's a natural evolution of a poor structure around the football club. And right now I just want Radcliffe to come in with these professionals that he has, like Blanc and Mitchell and people like that, and get us all set up for some sort of successful rebuild, because we're just in the mud, OMONDI, and I don't believe in the players or in the manager at the moment. So tell me why I should go to Fulham away. What am I going to see?
Well, you're a football man. At least this way you'll be having live view of the game. I don't. Fulham's only a small stadium, so you're not like you're going to be up and see the whole pitch
Yeah.
from a bird's eye view. But you're going to be there, have your hot dog and your cup of tea or whatever, singing a few songs, and you'll be able to give us a great post-match review. I'm sure of what happens that day and how we set up. Because obviously, when you're at the games, like Stuart Marshall and Andy Tate, you do see things differently. You see a lot more than the camera can actually pan in on. So I'm hoping you come back with a nice report for us. Rebel?
Can I just throw a question to bat time? Now, again, this is not confirmed, but it's rumoured that the policy at Manchester United Football Club since the years of Ole have been that three main signings is what has been sanctioned as being allowed, and that there didn't seem to be an appetite to kind of, spread the money. Like, say, for argument's sake, now, just take Mason Mount and what he cost. There might have been an appetite to buy two players for that value, but because of the alleged structures that are in place, that wasn't an idea that washed. We saw with Rangnick that he wasn't allowed by, I think it was at 15 million worth of player, which was Alvarez, who's now shooting the lights out for City, and I think it was Enzo Fernandez was the other one.
What's the question?
Do you think that the signings that are being targeted and the volume of money that we're spending towards that signings is being kind of informed by the fact that there's a policy in place that we're only allowed to sign X number of players in that window, so therefore they can't kind of diversify the funds?
No, not at all. I think that the only sort of restrictions that would have been put on are about like homegrown players, because those are the Eric Ten Hag has spent over 410 million and is saying that he can't get a team to play the style of football that got him hired. We've brought in players like Casemiro for 70 million, Anthony for 85 million. I have no bloody idea where Varane was tonight, which is also concerning. But the thing is that Ten Hag is one of the most powerful managers we have had since Ferguson. And he has that nice little relationship with the agency stable where he's getting his players in, and the money we've given him and the returns we are getting. To me, it says that what we've got to do is we've got to remove power from the manager and make him a coach, and get people around him that buy the players, the way that every other professional football club in the country is run, so they don't get in these situations with player power.
Okay. Guys, I hope you're enjoying the show. Better than you enjoyed the match today. It's been interesting. Great comments from you guys. Great comments from the people in the comments as well. Don't forget, we'll be back tomorrow to talk about Manchester United. These gloom and doom days, isn't it? I was really hard getting up for this. I thought we'd win today and give us a lift. But this is really bad. This is really bad. And I hope we all sleep well and wake up in a better mood, because it's shocking, isn't it? It's like someone's ripped out your heart and eaten it in front of you. This is your team. This is the Man United that you think, all right, we can always turn it around and play better at home at least. All right, if we're not playing away form's poor, let's play at home. At least while we're at home. That's the 12th game in a row in the cup competition that we played at home. I heard today as well, and we still can't get a win through love and money. Guys, press the like button and give us a shout. And guys, how happy are you to see Rebel back? Rebel, how does it feel? It's been a long time.
It's been a while, and I was just on the laptop because my laptop that I used for this show has been sitting in the corner gathering cobwebs since I did my last show. But I suppose what I will say is myself and Matt have been talking in the background, and we have been talking about the SGR situation. And I suppose for the first time in a long time, I feel confident that there's a roadmap to a better place for Manchester United Football Club.
That conversation took a very long time, though. Rebel was initially extremely unhappy with the takeover. And you say we have conversations. Rebel doesn't even say hello. He just sends me a newspaper article. I've got to work out what he means. But I think, like a lot of people, actually, like now we've sort of been through what's happening with Sir Jim and how we're going to get a better structure and a roadmap to getting rid of the Glazers. It's genuinely the only thing that I think is hopeful at the moment. Like, this is tonight for me feels like the nadir of a really poorly managed football club with just incompetent people on the pitch, in the boardroom, everywhere. And like I think that although it's another sodden rebuild, I think that this one is the one that I can really get behind. And whilst I am devastated, like, was it the great Carly in Indiana Jones that used to eat people's hearts in front of them, like Temple of Doom?
It was monkey brains they were eating for soup, weren't they?
No, he ripped people's hearts.
Oh, it
out
was.
and
Yes, it was
everything.
actually. Yes, it was.
Was he called Carly or something?
Cave, was it? Yeah, he was going to rip out the heart and eat it.
Yeah, well, that's what
Sacrifice.
that's what Eddie Howe has just done to me. I feel deflated and awful. But Radcliffe, I think, is the start of a new dawn, and I just really hope we can get through this season with less embarrassments, and then we can sort of build again, because we are going to rise and we are going to be back, and these days will one day just be, you know, they'll disappear from our memories like rain on a windowsill.
Okay, guys, we're going to wrap it up there. Thank you for those lovely words. I feel soothed now. Bath time, and you don't sound so vexed. At the start of the show, you're saying disgraceful and all these kind of words. But yeah, it's been great. Welcome back. You back tomorrow, Rebel?
If you need me, I'll be there.
Good. I'll be there, Michael Jackson. Yeah, guys, let's sign out. And just one more point about the PowerPoints. There were no PowerPoints today, but my son, he was saying to me the other day, he put together a PowerPoint presentation about going to the water park. It was about slides.
Very good.
Okay, anyway, let's go. I'm going to sign out. Good night. God bless. And we'll be back tomorrow.